Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Yesterday Blizzard changed something big, something that had been in the game since it had launched, but coming up to Shadowlands and World of Warcraft's 16th anniversary, it was finally decided that it was allowing more good than bad within the game, and that for many the very specific niche within the game will have changed forevermore. Multiboxing has been hit, and hit hard. Let's bring up the post because I really need to push something home on what it says here. The use of input broadcasting software that mirrors keystrokes to multiple WoW game clients will soon be considered an actionable offence. It does not say multiboxing is a bannable offence, and I bet basically moving forwards forever that people will get mass reported for running around with a character on follow for cheating, even though the detection for the software should almost always come from Blizzard's end, you'd think. Blizzard even had to further release a message soon after clarifying that this was indeed the case. It's the software that mimics the keystrokes to other clients that causes problems. You can still multibox, it's just going to have to be done manually through tabbing or through multiple keyboard setups or something of the likes. In any event, it's going to be more difficult to do, more complicated, and probably more expensive as well. And honestly, the brains on some of the comments that I've read after this update, people are genuinely complaining that people can pay for two accounts and play them at the same time, and that multiboxing shouldn't be allowed even if it's totally manual. How on earth in any conceivable form would that ever be enforceable unless you just want to throw out bans left and right to anyone with more than one login from the same connection? I've legitimately seen comments saying Blizzard are doing this for money. Like, what am I reading? Last time I heard multiboxing was being kept around for money. Oh, and apparently Naxxramas and Shadowlands are being launched at the same time to boost Q4 profits. No doubt if Nax was pushed back to January, hey, it would have been for Q1 profits. BlizzCon Online, or BlizzConline, which sounds weird to say, is also free, by the way, for everybody. I swear some people will just add another layer of tinfoil to the hat to justify anything and everything as Blizzard bad. Which they're certainly not perfect, but come on. Rant aside though, why are Blizzard hitting multiboxing now? It's been nearly 16 years. Well, my audience on YouTube is mainly people interested in the classic version of the game, so I will go over that first, but I reckon the reasons it is being changed are primarily to do with retail, which I also think are more interesting. But I can tell you that I doubt classic even came into consideration when making this announcement. And yes, by the way, this change will apply to both retail and classic. It's a game-wide policy change, and was cross-posted by one of our community managers, Kaivax, onto the Classic General Discussion Forum. So if you are currently using any form of multibox software in World of Warcraft, I would drop it sooner rather than later. I think it will certainly have an effect on the in-game economy, especially for items like echoes, which can be looted by entire raids as they're treated like quest items. And then it will serve to give a reason to apply more rapid and severe punishments to potential bots inside dungeons. Previously, there could have been false accusations towards a boxer who was just farming away. Now that is no longer a consideration to have. They are potentially all breaking rules one way or another now. But are the bots in Strat, for example, using multibox software though? I don't think that they are, you know. I think the fact that fly hacks are still working is the biggest contributing factor to harm from botting within Classic. As for botting and multiboxing, two different things. Botting doesn't require intervention, multiboxing does. And you know, this was the justification Blizzard had been giving ever since Vanilla 2 for its existing, by the way. Their take was the keystrokes on other clients are only happening because you initiate them on a master client, so it's all good. The issue for them was when one keystroke could lead to multiple actions that you had no actual input on. That's when it becomes automation. Of course, their article on multiboxing has been updated now, and I managed to get a screenshot of the old one. It says updated recently, but I'm quite confident this is the old one, where it says boxing is fine, but Blizzard doesn't support the tools. On the new one now it says that instead using such tools may result in account penalties. And I know a good amount of people on both sides of the fence towards avidly resenting multiboxing as pay to win, or enjoying it as a new way to play the game and to keep it fresh. Imagine if you're approaching WoW as if it was Heroes of Might and Magic or something, where you're assembling your own party to go out in the world. It's not very MMO-esque, but it certainly would be a very different way to play the game that would be interesting to see how you can build out the best party possible. And indeed, many from the fan server communities are the harshest against multiboxing, seeing as well, if your accounts are free to make, it's not too hard to imagine a guy firing up 40 accounts and making the game very hard for others, though it's no small task either to get that kind of setup. You don't just begin like this overnight. And even up to now, there were plenty of streamers too who you could find out showing off their skills in the multiboxing department. We have a pretty energetic streamer for Classic, shall I put it that way, famous for his enormous mage multibox and light shows. There's a streamer on Retail who runs over 80 accounts all at the same time, and boasts being able to make many millions of gold per session. Both of their methods of achieving this, simply put, will be so tedious and lengthy that they are now totally impossible. This change in policy should totally kill off huge-scale multiboxing, but dual boxing or smaller scale operations are likely to still be going. Never put it past people to hook up intelligent solutions to problems. Multiboxing was nowhere near, and I cannot overemphasize this, nowhere near as prevalent, developed, or as sophisticated at this point in vanilla either. And honestly, I was just more than a little bit concerned for TBC about competing with multiboxers with so many followers in tow that they cast a shadow beneath them, because there is a lot more open world stuff to be doing in TBC. Back in vanilla, it was super niche, more of an intrigue to see, and the devs thought it as an alternative way of playing the game and looking into what new kind of discoveries players could make. I don't think Metzen and Morheim were thinking, gee, this extra revenue is sure going to add up a nice bit towards our third pool, isn't it? So many people may welcome this change in Classic, but I think it's affecting more people who are still at their keyboard rather than just bots. We'll see though, because let's talk about the retail side now. Now in retail, multiboxing is a lot more visibly harmful, which I think is very important. Back when I was doing the BFA review videos, I was flying about getting some footage and came across multiple Moonkin farms where they were all stacked up spamming Starfall and just AoEing down mobs as they respawned. Unfortunately, I didn't think to get footage then, but I went back out a few times since seeing the announcement to see what I could find, but to no avail. But it's not too difficult to find online though, and see exactly what people were doing though if you just look at Moonkin Multibox Farm BFA or something along that line on YouTube. Also on retail, there are two ways to loot from range. This is also very important. First of all, you have the Looterang made from Cataclysm Engineering. This is a toy and can be used by any class, and it was actually given a new requirement as of the pre-patch, so that you must have at least 70 in Cataclysm Engineering to be able to use this item. Here's how it works, really simple. Press the button, super short cooldown, it loots items from a range, repeat, that's it. Also in retail, if you didn't know, there is AoE looting. So say you have 5 different things to loot, this will do them all at once. Pretty good, right? Moonkin farms all use these. The engineering requirement actually put up a barrier to entry on this, a potentially very expensive one too, but worry not, there is a class that has a built-in tool to loot stuff from a range. Hunter. In Legion they got a fun little class book, which taught your pet something called Fetch, which is just like a Looterang. Press button, pet goes, loots stuff for you. You don't even have to target what you want to loot either, by the way. It just goes and loots something within 40 yards, and both of these items were integral to mass-scale multi-box farming in the open world on retail. And let's go and have a little look at the auction house, shall we? This is the server Draenor on the Horde side. It's a big realm, but yes, this is from one realm. Tide Spray Linen, this is the main cloth from BFA, 293,000 posted. Shaldore Silk, this is the cloth tier from Legion, 681,000 on the auction house. Hardened Tempest Hide is a skinning item from BFA, 140k listed. For mining, Platinum Ore at 150k and Monolite at 138,000 posted. These are two of the ores from Battle for Azeroth. And finally, a herb, Anchorweed. These are like the BFA equivalent of Black Lotus as the big herb needed for Flask. They are nowhere near as rare, but you get the idea, and there's 27,000 of them posted. So we may have a decent understanding of how there is so much cloth and leather from skinning, which come from just people power farming, but how is there also such a massive amount of herbs and ore as well? Well, in BFA, and actually since Legion, each node for mining and herbing isn't just limited to the first person who gets there, it's the first 10. Yes, 10 people can loot a node before it despawns within a timer period after the first interaction with the node. What does this mean then? This means you can have people flying around with 10 druids, all tapping a node and depleting it, getting 10 times the resources a solo player could ever get, And while you come out the other end with having literally hundreds of thousands of resources on the auction house, which will probably end up losing the farmer money from deposits even before they sell half of what they have, before we end up on about WoW's 15th expansion or something. Oh, and I suppose I should add that World First Raiders have been alluding to multiboxing 4 of the same class, so they don't have to worry about picking the wrong covenant. Well, now you do again, I guess. Thank you, Blizzard. Good or bad, whatever you think, this will lose Blizzard money. Just go look at the forums where people are saying they're refunding Shadowlands for their extra accounts or cancelling subscriptions they can no longer make a use of. This isn't a short-term move to add to the bottom line that we've become so accustomed to. It's a long-term rebuilding trust move, and trust is an intangible currency Blizzard have been hemorrhaging for a long time now, and judging by the overwhelmingly positive reaction you can find almost anywhere online, I can only say that this appears to have been for the best. What remains to see is how effectively Blizzard pick up on the use of software and issue suspensions, and to what efficacy players can get large-scale operations up and running again. I don't think we've seen the end of multiboxing, manual or otherwise. So then guys, your thoughts on all of this, other than being surprised that it finally happened, I guess? Do let me know below. Thanks all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. If you like what you see, do give the video a like and subscribe, as there will be plenty more to come. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.